Hello and welcome to a special OKPreps Extra Show. I'm Patrick Prince, joined as always by Barry Lewis. It is officially game week, and we're thrilled to death. Barry, let's just jump right in. Let's start with 6A1. Who's your favorite and why?
Going to have to give the edge to Bixby because, after all, they've won state titles in 10 of the past 11 seasons. So it's really hard to pick against a team that has that resume. But I think it's really tight between Bixby, Owasso, and Jenks primarily. And I'm not going to discount Union either. But I think I give Bixby the slight edge just because they always seem to find a way under Coach Lauren Montgomery. However, remember last year, Owasso was really the best team in 6A1 all year long until the final play, and then they weren't, and then it was Bixby. So I think it is pretty open, and Jenks was right there too in the playoffs. So I think it's really a battle between those three teams, but I remember saying that last year is a battle between three teams, and there was a little bit of a gap between the big three and then Owasso, and then lo and behold, it was Owasso that was the best team really until that last play. So I'm not gonna count out Union either. And then there's Broken Arrow. Broken Arrow's a big wild card, so with Travis Hill, so it'll be interesting to see how they fare.
Is there anything about Bixby that might concern you?
As long as they stay healthy, they look so solid at every position. But of course, injuries are always that X factor for any team. But if any team is built to withstand an injury or two, it's Bixby.
How about a player to watch in 6A1?
For Wasso, Taj Overton, the OSU commit, I'm really looking for a huge breakout. Well, he's already been really good, but I'm looking for, I think he's got the potential for a monster season on the Rams defensive line.
All right, let's go down to 6A2. You got teams like Sand Springs, Choctaw, Stillwater, Muskogee, Putnam City. Who's your favorite?
I think this is probably one of the most wide open classes where I could picture any number. I could picture four or five teams having a real good chance at winning, but I'm going to go with Sand Springs. I'm surprised. I'm surprised you, Patrick, because a lot of people are going with the defending champion Choctaw, and I think Choctaw will be right there. But there's been the narrative in the last few years since Bixby left 6A2 to go to 6A1 has been that each year there's been a new champion, and that champion has snapped a long championship drought. And so the next team on that list, it's Sand Springs' turn. And I think the Sandites have that capability with the great combination of quarterback Easton Webb and receiver Dom Forbes. And I think they're just really solid all the way around. I think it's time for the Sandites to take the next step, go to the next level.
We should also mention that each year Bill Haston follows an area athlete all season long, and this year he's going to do Easton Webb, who's also a standout baseball player. So that those are always fun reads by Bill. So we'll look forward to that. How about a player to watch in 6A2?
Gonna go with Muskogee linebacker Koda Barnowski. He's had two incredible seasons, and he's had like almost 300 tackles over the past 2 years. So excited to see what he could do to top that this year.
All right, let's go down to 5A, where at the top in the preseason rankings, your preseason rankings anyway, there's some out of area teams. But at number 4, you got Booker T, and number 5, you have Collinsville. What's the year going to be like for those two?
It's really I I think the sky is the limit. I mean, I think Booker T has really great potential to do some exciting things. But with any new coaching change, there's just that bit of an unknown factor. They made such a great turnaround last year to get to 9-3. Can they build on that? I think they got to stay healthy. I think they've got the potential to get to the championship game at least. It's really hard to pick against Carl Albert for the same reasons it's hard to pick against Bixby. But I think Booker T has that potential to be play at least playing for the gold ball in December.
How about
And then
Collinsville?
going ahead to Collinsville, the big question mark there is their 2 year starter at quarterback, Skylar Mormon, moved on to Union during the offseason. So whenever you've got a quarterback change, there's always a question mark, especially when you lose a really good quarterback. But it seems like Collinsville is in a pretty good position to to handle that situation, and I think they're confident that they could do so. And Scott Rigby is one of the better players in the area too, outstanding running back, linebacker. So having a player like Scott Rigby, he's the type of player it's always good to build around someone like him.
Well, I was going to ask you for a 5A player to watch, but I think you just gave it to us.
Yes, along with Dwayne Jones, the
Yeah.
awesome defensive lineman for Booker T, who teamed up with Joseph Graves last year. They were such a force in the D line. Of course, Joseph Graves, outstanding power four recruit, as is Dwayne Jones. Joseph Graves is on to IMG Academy in Florida. So, but I think it'll be interesting to see what Dwayne Jones can do this year. Now that, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if how he handles losing Joseph Graves. But I'm looking for a really big year from him.
So in 4A, we have a new era at Wagner. Of course, Dale Condit has moved on to Muskogee. I've always thought there was something in the water in Wagner or something because he just churned out great elite players and great teams every year. But it's a new era. He's gone. You've got the Bulldogs fourth. What's their year going to be like?
Wow, that is I mean, for the first time in 2 decades, I think there's a real question mark about what their year is going to be about. I mean, they've been so consistent in success. I mean, for the first time since Dale Condit's first year, when no one expected them to get to the state championship game that year just because winning hadn't really been in their background before he arrived, and then they surprised everybody. And so I think this is just a weird year going into it because in every year since then, even when they had more returning starters than other years, um, there were some really star players that you knew like, hey, you can build around this guy, and they really don't have any superstar returning players, at least that we know of, that have proven to be stars. And but I think they got lot of really good players. Dale Condit laid such a foundation that even now that he's gone, that and some other players left last year when he did, I think he built such a foundation that they're just used to winning there. And that counts for a whole lot. If you think you can win, I mean, that's half the battle right there. They're used to winning. And just because their head coach from last year left and some other players left, they're still expecting to win. And that winning culture, winning mindset that Kimes Gilbert has inherited as head coach, I think that is so important. And we'll see that on display this year. It's really hard to predict, however, what Wagner's going to do, but I, I think they've got enough talent to at least put them in the top four.
What about 3A? Lincoln Christian going to repeat?
They looks really good at all positions, really solid. But again, you can't count out Heritage Hall. I think Cassia Hall is going to be really good. Cassia Hall is due to make her deep playoff run. They get to the playoffs every year. What an incredible streak. 38 consecutive years they've made it to the playoffs. So I'm not going to count them out, but Lincoln Christian just looks like they'll continue to be a powerhouse as they look for a three-peat.
Who's their best player?
They've got several outstanding, well, they're full of outstanding players, but I think it all starts with the quarterback, Carter Rickey, son of the head coach, and Rain Ragland on defense. They've got a couple of really good running backs who they also use as receivers. They're just pretty deep.
I feel like Carter Rickey's been there forever.
Well, it seems like that because remember his brother was a quarterback there too who won a state title.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Okay. All right. How about Class 2A1? How's Metro going to be? You got them in the top five this year.
Metro has a returning starter at quarterback, and I think that's huge in Kincaid Ing. And he had a really good year last year. I think from everything I've heard, that he's really going to have a super breakout season this year. And if he does, I think Metro Christian can contend for a state title, although it's going to be tough to overtake Washington, not Booker T. Washington, the other Washington. I say the other Washington. That Washington that's in 2A1 has won three straight state titles and beating Millwood in the title game all three of those years. So, and it looks like Washington is the definite favorite to make it four in a row.
Let's drop down to Class A1, where we have a loaded Rejoice Christian as the overwhelming favorite there. What do you think about them?
They've just got uh, so much talent all over the field. They've got, I mean, it's really rare for an A1, a Class A team, to have two Power Four recruits on the field on both offense and defense because they both play good ways. But that's the case there with the wide receiver ZZ. I like to just call him ZZ Okofuize. I hope I'm at least close pronouncing the last name. A great receiver, also makes an impact in the secondary. And then Kamian Compton-Nero, who takes over for an all-state quarterback. And we'll get to see what he can do as a full season at quarterback. And he's also really dynamic. That's not even his best position, but he showed last year he is a really good quarterback when he filled in. And he's a dynamic playmaker on both sides of the ball. So those are two pretty good players to build around.
I know they won the state title last year, but it almost feels like they won it a year ahead of schedule.
They did, sort
And
of. Yeah.
sort of, kind of, yeah. And then so they won it last year in kind of in dramatic fashion, right? If I remember that right.
Well, no, they pretty well dominated
Did
the
they?
championship game
Okay, I
against
don't
Hooker.
know why I thought that. But anyway, but this
But you're
year,
having a flashback to Wagner 2022.
yeah, there you go. There you
They
go.
were a year ahead of schedule, but that's the thing about being a year ahead of schedule is that when you've got that chance to win the state championship, even if you're ahead of schedule and you think you're going to have a couple more opportunities, you better just go ahead and grab it at the time because we thought Wagner would go ahead and that senior class, which are sophomores back in 2022, would at least win one more. And they came close, didn't happen. So the future is now. So if you got the chance, go for it now.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to be a fun team to go watch. I need to go check them out on a Friday night. Well, we've just sort of scratched the surface on everything that we're going to have. Our annual high school football preview publishes Sunday, August 24th in print and online. Our main story, if you will, is Bill Haston taking a look at some impactful transfers. We will have Barry Lewis's class breakdowns. We touched on that a little bit here. He'll break down the classes even more. Barry Lewis's ever popular rankings. I know you love the rankings, Barry. We will feature our all-world preseason voting winners. We asked you to vote all summer. We're going to profile the winners on Sunday. And we got some more stuff, Barry. Anything else you want to mention? I don't want to mention just everything. There's a lot of great stuff in there. Just go read it.
Well, yes, absolutely. That pretty well covers the preview. But of course, look, go to okprepsextra.com and read the Tulsa World in print all week long for our coverage leading up to the games all week, starting on Tuesday's paper when you've got a look at the top games coming up during the week, and then just throughout the week, uh, and including our game coverage, and which will be a day earlier than normal this week because we've got the Battle of the Burbs on Thursday. And then, of course, a full schedule of games on Friday. Battle of the Burbs, Bixby, Owasso at TU's H.A. Chapman Stadium. What a way to break in the season.
Who do you got in that game?
I could say that you need to look into Thursday, August 28th paper for all our picks. Let's just say I'm percolating, contemplating that pick right now, but you might also refer back to who my number one team is in 6A1. That will be a battle between one versus two, let's say.
All right, we'll call that good. I'm Patrick Prince. He's Barry Lewis. Barry, appreciate your knowledge as always. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week.